Broncos country. On this episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports, welcome in, by the way. My name is Moose. We're going to talk Von Miller and how he almost came back to Mile High. At the very back end of this episode, we're going to talk about the team that we face this coming Sunday, who he happens to play for, the Washington Commanders. Give you a little preview about what they look like offensively and defensively speaking. But let's focus on Von really quick. Mile High was his home when he got drafted. And then he reached back out to George Paton and he said, what's it going to take to get this back together? And George Paton essentially told him, look, we've got players that are younger, that are playing special teams. I just don't know if this is the right fit right now, considering what we're building here with Vance Joseph and this unbelievable defense. I want to start off by saying this. I understand why George Paton didn't say yes. We don't have to look at this as a shot at Von. We don't have to look at this as they don't want Von to come back and retire as a Bronco. This is strictly a decision for business. The Broncos have Nick Bonito. They have Jonathan Cooper, Jonah Elliss, Dondrea Tillman, and a bunch of other defensive linemen that can also get after the quarterback at a furious rate. But Von Miller was in an interview. He was asked specifically about the offseason plan, and here's specifically what he had to say. I did reach out to the Denver Broncos. I tried to be on the Denver Broncos as well, but it was just a short conversation with me and George Paton. Paton explained to Miller that Denver had Jonah Elliss, Dondrea Tillman, behind starters Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper on the edge. Elliss and Tillman both totaled 5 sacks as rotational pass rushers in 2024, and they both contribute on special teams. Miller acknowledged that he's not going to contribute in the kicking game at this stage of his career. Okay, so again, like I was saying, Von Miller's one of those players that would I love to have him back and retire as a Denver Bronco? Of course I would. Was it the right fit at this time? Of course it wasn't. And that's okay. We can have two things coexisting at the exact same time. I also believe that Von Miller can retire as a Denver Bronco. But like George Paton said, you've got two players that are great rotational players right this moment, and they play special teams. And that's something that Von Miller can't do at this stage of his career. He admitted it. So if you were to bring Von on, it would strictly be as a pass rusher, as a rotational pass rusher, and more of a player-coach style. He's got incredible wisdom. He's a Broncos legend, and the numbers kind of back that up. 511 tackles, 142 tackles for loss, 110 sacks with 25 forced fumbles as a Denver, you're right, 110 and a half. That's my bad. I got to give credit where credit is due. The half a sack definitely counts. But Von is always going to be beloved by Broncos country. He's always going to have a spot in the Ring of Fame when he fully retires. There is no doubt in my mind that he is one of the greatest Denver Broncos to ever lace him up. And get this, he's still kind of playing at a pretty decent level. Like, I was shocked to see these numbers so far in 2025. Dude's got 13 tackles, 3 for loss, 5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits with a PFF grade of 59.2. For what they call a quote-unquote old man, he's still rocking and rolling and putting up solid numbers, respectable numbers. So here's my take. I think you should sign Von Miller to the vet minimum next year. Bring him home. He wants to retire a Bronco. Broncos fans want him to retire a Bronco. And you know what? You don't even have to play him as much as you want or as much as he would want. Put him on as a player-coach role. Bring him in on specific packages. He can be a locker room voice, a mentor to Nick Bonito, a mentor to Jonathan Cooper, and these young rotational pass rushers. I think it would be exceptional to bring him on next year, considering the Broncos currently have $50 million in available cap space, and that might go up. So, I'll throw it over to you. Would you sign Von Miller next season? Type S for sign, type your P for pass. We're going to get into that here in just a moment, the back half of this episode talking about the Washington Commanders. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's show is sponsored by a brand new sponsor that we've got here on the Broncos Breakdown, and that's our friends over at Cash App. Look, I've currently been dealing with this unbelievable scam during the holiday season. I've got people calling me from my hometown with my hometown number, and they've been trying to extend my car's extended warranty. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the holidays are all about finding the perfect gift. But this time of the year, not every deal is actually what it seems. Scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are just way too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card, so you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. Stay one step ahead of scams this season and keep your money secure with Cash App. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real. Just download the Cash App, use our exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Incorporated brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. So let's break it down really quick. Von is now a part of the Washington Commanders defense, and the Denver Broncos travel to the nation's capital to take them on in Week 13. I think on paper, every single Broncos fan would agree the Broncos are better. Period. Point blank. Does that mean you could take this week off? No. Does that mean you could take Marcus Mariota for granted because it doesn't look like Jaden Daniels is going to play? No. You got to have your strong game plan, offensively and defensively. The weather is also calling for like winter vortex-like weather, so you're going to get winds swirling. You're going to get freezing rain. It's going to be really tough. So do yourself a favor, Sean Payton. Do yourself a favor, Bo Nix. Get ready to run the football. And that's where I think we have to acknowledge that R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Bidet are going to be called upon in a big way this coming Sunday night football game. Ian Rappaport also kind of echoed that Jaden Daniels was evaluated by the Washington Commanders staff. Sources are saying that it's a long shot for him to play, so they're not going to rule it out. But I think everybody knows that doubtful means most likely not going to play. In fact, if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say 95% likely that Jaden Daniels will not play. And let's be completely honest. Jaden Daniels is kind of the heart and soul. He's the pumping blood of that offense because without him, yikes. There's a lot of bad stuff here. Points per game, 23rd. Yards per game, 17th. Yards per play, they're actually not terrible. They're 10th. EPA per play is 13th. So they do some things really well, but they're not good on third down. They turn the ball over way too much, and they just don't find the end zone nearly as much as they should. The Broncos have the opportunity here to really make a statement against Marcus Mariota. Limit him to less than 13 points. I think you win this football game pretty handedly. And believe it or not, they've been testing out some new defenses. They're going with this new dime defense that Dan Quinn's been rolling out over there. This isn't scary. It's not a scary defense. Vaughn is probably your best pass rusher, and everybody else is just kind of You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing absolutely, groundbreaking about this defense. In fact, you've seen a lot of teams get after them a little bit. So I think if the weather kind of does favor you at the very end of the football game, you can start to air it out a little bit more. The Broncos should have no problem taking on this Washington Commanders team. They're a better team through and through. Offensively, they're better. Defensively, they're better. It just has to come all together on Sunday Night Football for the Broncos to come through and absolutely destroy this team. No Jaden Daniels means Marcus Mariota. Yikes. His passer rating isn't that bad, but everything else is kind of 65% completion percentage, okay. Yards, not great. Touchdown interception ratio is bad. So nobody's scared about Marcus Mariota. I've only really highlighted 3 keys to victory, too, by the way, because there's not so much to break down in this football game. The first step is don't come out sluggish. You've been off now. You had your bye week. You're playing on Sunday Night Football. You've had a lot of rest. You have to come out on the right foot. You cannot take anybody for granted. If you come out sleepwalking through the first quarter and a half and they get out to a 10-13-0 lead, it might be too hard to get back into the game considering what the weather conditions are going to look like. So you have to come out aggressive, punch him in the mouth offensively and defensively. Step 2, speaking of punching in the mouth, punish Marcus Mariota with the blitz. You go blitz heavy against Marcus Mariota. He's not nearly as mobile as he was when he came out. He's a little bit older, a little bit heavier, a little bit more heavy-footed. You can absolutely attack him inside of the pocket. Now, that being said, he can still out and make plays with his legs any given Sunday. But I think if you blitz him well enough, if you pinch those edges, you keep a quarterback spy on him, you'll be just fine. Step number 3, and the final step, if you are going to throw the ball, move the pocket consistently with Bo. I think this is something that the Broncos did really well against the Chiefs. Get Bo rolling. Get him out on play action. Let him move the pocket. Don't just let him sit there and try to go through each one of his progressions. You will get crushed. So let him move outside, let him roll a little bit, let him plant his foot, survey the field, make an accurate over the middle field over the middle of the field throw, like we saw against the Chiefs. That's why I'm typing my DEN's final score prediction for Moose, 24-10. I'll say I think it's lower scoring considering the weather. I'm typing my DENs every single day. Let me know in the comment section or in the live chat right now down below. That's going to do it for us on this episode of the Broncos Breakdown. A mile-high salute to you, my friends. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and as always, be cool.